Hey everyone, Dr. Matt Geller here. I hope you're enjoying the wonderful Eyes on Glaucoma. We've been having an incredible show. The stats coming in are great conversation going on in the chat and just ton of engagement. So thanks everyone. I hope you're having a great day so far. My next guest is Lee-Bennett with AMETEK Reichert Technologies. Super excited to have him on. Let's bring him in. How's it going, Ian? Good to see you.
Hi, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, very pleased to be here. Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you. Tell us about your background in a little bit more so viewers can understand everything you're bringing to the table with AMETEK Reichert.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as you said, my name is Ian Lee-Bennett, and I'm the business unit manager here at AMETEK Reichert Technologies, and I'm based in our head office in Buffalo, in New York. I mean, background, I've been involved in optics now for more than 25 years. I've registered a number of patents. I've worked on optical designs. I joined AMETEK about 20 years ago for a sister company, not for Reichert at that time, where I used to design a lot of optical instrumentation, test equipment, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I moved over to Reichert when an opportunity came up at the end of 2019. So it's been an interesting year going through COVID, but Reichert's done extremely well through that period, and again really well in 2021. So we'll probably cover a little bit of that later. So I've also presented lots of major conferences around the world, Optical Society of America, USPIN, IDEMA, things like that. And I think it's nice in the family of AMETEK companies. You have lots of really world-leading brands, and there's often lots of opportunities to take the skills you learn in one business unit, take them over to another. So I think that's that's been really helpful in my case, and I think that I think that background in engineering, background in innovation and things like that is a great thing to sort of bring to any business. Really.
Certainly, yeah, absolutely. And Reichert's background and just history in the field certainly shows, I think, a strong future ahead in innovation. And tell us about your experience and how that will, I think, support Reichert Technologies as the future with future developments.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think the fundamental thing is I've always been a really strong believer in leveraging innovation mm-hmm. to solve problems and develop new products. And it's really at the core of our vision and our mission here at Reichert. We really believe in innovation, we believe in teamwork, and we believe in integrity. And I think if you're able to solve problems in a novel and new way, if you're able to work together, and I don't just mean within the business, but I mean we work with a lot of thought leaders around the world to try and understand some of the really challenging problems that exist in this industry, and that means we can then try and address those, and also integrity. It's important to as a business to try and work with people, and we work with all of our our dealers and our technical staff as well to try and make sure that we're offering the best possible solutions, to everybody. And I think that's so important in the eye care industry, as in a lot of medical industries. So we genuinely try and offer the best tools possible to help diagnose and to help manage patients. And in my career, it's great to be working in an industry where you can see such a direct correlation between the things you do and the products you develop and the improvements that really gives to people in society at large. I mean, looking after people's vision is a huge sort of responsibility, and I think anything we can bring to the hands of the people who can help to diagnose and solve those problems is great. And I think that's why it's it gives me a lot of pride to be part of a business working in this industry and to be bringing new solutions that Reichert's going to bring in the coming years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was looking briefly more about the company, and Reichert's got 180-year plus history in this field, and it's pretty incredible, and it's no easy feat to keep up with and really push forward the space that you guys are in, the diagnostic space. Now, give us a brief kind of like overview of that history, but where this is all culminated today, and what's most exciting happening today when it comes to device lineup and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So the history is extraordinary, really. I mean, my previous company, we celebrated 125 years, but Reichert is over 180 years old, and it goes right back to you know, William Beecher originally started you know, a jewelry shop where we started sort of making the original spectacles. You know, some of the very first formed optics were made at American Optical, which is how we started out in the sort of 1860s. But all the time we've been developing and innovating new technology, from the lens meters in the 1920s. You know, the Ultramatic is still at this moment seen as you know, a world-leading manufacturer. Even though technology has moved on, you know, it's still one of the best manufacturers in the world, really. And then we come, you know, to a new stage in our development when we really got involved with tonometry, and our first non-contact tonometers were in the 70s, and we invented those, and that was part of our heritage. And then another huge development in the very early 2000s was the development and the ability to measure corneal hysteresis. This is where we can assess the corneal biomechanics and give a much richer data set to people to help understand and help diagnose conditions like glaucoma by giving more data than just the traditional kind of intraocular pressure measurements. In 2006, we really started our venture into the handheld tonometry market as well, with our TonoPen, which is, again, the sort of world-leading instrument in that field. And through all of these developments, you know, it's great to see a US company, and you know, these days we're probably the only manufacturer, US manufacturer of phoropters, digital phoropters, things like that. And see the company doing so well. We had our IPAC was developed 2011, and then we start to get to the sort of newer instruments, our digital phoropters, 2015. Mm-hmm. We made some great developments in terms of acuity charts and clear charts, 2016, and then we're moving on to, you know, it's been really exciting now to see the development where the instruments that have all been used sort of in isolation in the past, and particularly with COVID coming along, we developed technology that's really accelerated through COVID because of remote refraction being a solution that's really been needed. So we have sort of teleoptometry solutions now where people can operate instruments at a remote and safe distance. So last year that was really important, you know, and we already had developed that technology prior to COVID happening. So that was a great development that we brought to the market, and has been very, very successful through the COVID times. And then as we look to 2021, we have a really big year this year. We've got some very exciting product launches coming out towards the end of the year, where again we're going to bring sort of a brand new technology to the Reichert portfolio to give to give people again access to the tools to make better measurements and to help try and diagnose conditions. So it's an extraordinary heritage, really, and I really see that continuing as we go forward. You know, Reichert has always been an innovative company, and we're really looking to continue that innovation and continue to bring new products. I hope every few years, to bring some new technology, some new products, and some new features to the marketplace.
Yeah, that's exciting. I will certainly have my eyes peeled. There's no doubt about it. I say it every time whenever we're doing one of these shows, how much ODs care about the new gadgets, the new instruments, the new technology. It's such an important piece of what we do, obviously for patient care, but it keeps the wind in our sails. It makes the job a lot more fun. It makes the career a lot more fun. We do get excited about new technology, so I'm sure the whole industry will keep their eyes peeled for what Reichert Technologies is coming out with next. When it comes to like if a new doc was to try to better understand Reichert Technologies, what are the key areas of focus if you were to break it down into buckets, or what do those look like?
Okay, I mean, in terms of the eye care market, Reichert has really tried to focus on two very important key areas, and we think that's a great benefit to the company, because we feel we're really specialists in those two areas, and those two areas are refraction and tonometry. And we try to have a whole range of instruments available for those in those fields to to give people the right kind of instruments for their particular needs. So if I go through the things we have, we mentioned earlier the manual phoropters that we have, and the Ultramatic was was the first sort of manual phoropter we developed, but now we have a whole range of phoropters going through right to the our most modern lineup, the VRX, which is an automated digital phoropter to give really the ODs and MDs access to the latest tools to be able to do refraction. So we think it's important that we offer a range of instruments there. It's important that we have a whole portfolio of things to offer the industry. And the same is true when you look at tonometry. So, I mean, we again have a whole raft of products available, right from the sort of more, the more common sort of contact tonometers. There's a good innovation there that we had with the CATS tonometer, which is a new type of prism that is great at being able to measure IOP to give the best possible readings. We also have our ocular response analyzer that I mentioned earlier, which not only measures IOP and IOPCC, but also corneal hysteresis to be able to give measurements of corneal biomechanics, which is a great indicator and sort of predictor of glaucoma progression. We then have handheld tools, so it really depends on the kind of clinics these are being used in, but our TonoPens, a great handheld tool. And we also have a Model 30 Newman tonometer as well. So, when we look at the range of products we have, we really have a solution there for every kind of sort of eventuality, and to give people a whole range of products they can use, whether they're the lower cost, easier to use products or ones for more detailed kind of diagnosis.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you guys are focused on corneal hysteresis and a leader in the space. I mean, especially at an event like Eyes on Glaucoma here, I think it's a misunderstood area, and so it's nice to see it popping up in education throughout the day, whether CE or other glaucoma education. For someone with a rich heritage like you in this innovative space, where do you see Reichert Technologies innovating, say, over like the next 5 years? What do you envision happening there?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the way we develop has to be by looking at what's happening in the industry and really what's happening in the population at large. And if we look at those kind of things, we can definitely see an increasing demand for vision care, not just in the US, but all around the world, whether we're talking about, cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration, just sort of low vision, things like that. I mean, there are increasing amounts of this. And if we look at the age groups and demographics there, the over 55s are the fastest growing sort of population segment. And this is accelerating the demand for medical eye care services. I mean, vision is one of the most sort of treasured, senses that we have, and it's something that people really want to take into their later lives. And of course, with people living longer, that's really important. So, the demand for refractive vision care is expanding, over 3%, from 2015 to 2025. And the number of annual exams being done is also increasing. Demand for medical eye care over the same period has expanded almost 30%. So, you can see there's lots of opportunities there for us to grow with that market and to provide the kind of solutions that people need. So, optometry is the biggest opportunity to increase medical eye care amongst existing patients and expand the care to the elderly and the at-risk population. So that's really what we're trying to do. So, if we look at other dynamics, things like telehealth. I mean, before COVID, really no one was using this term telehealth very much. It was seen to be, something that wasn't, necessarily a big focus of the industry. But now, if you look at telehealth and you look at remote medicine, remote eye care, now people are starting to look at those things and see what advantages they can offer. And if you just think about the flexibility that now gives, ODs to treat their patients, whether their patients want to be treated out of standard office hours, or, you might be able to to dial in and talk to your patients when you're away from the office or even working from another office. So, there's great opportunities, I think, there, and I think that's going to continue certainly over the next 5 years, where we see, patient care really being targeted around, giving the best possible care to all the patients around their sort of their schedules as well. So I think that's, I think that's where it's going to go. I mean, there's a real customer-centric philosophy coming out now, where the customers are demanding the best possible eye care. They want the best possible treatments, and that's what we're going to try and support over that time period.
Absolutely. It's let's talk glaucoma. Obviously, this is the Eyes on Glaucoma show, and we had 5,800 optometrists show up to get glaucoma education. So clearly, it's a huge piece. It's almost 10% of the entire profession more, showed up to get this fantastic education. And so you can bet that glaucoma is going to be and continue to be such an important piece of patient care and the practices of optometrists. So, what can optometrists count on from Reichert when it comes to diagnosis and management of glaucoma and into the future? And how can they look to Reichert Technologies for solutions?
Yeah, and that's a key focus of ours. And I think you sort of the two key points there is we are, we're focusing very heavily on how to diagnose and manage glaucoma. And manage it over time. And we use our strong connections and partnerships through the industry, whether that's with researchers, educational channels. And it's great to see events like this, which are really bringing a focus on this. It's such a, it's such a critical thing to help address, because it's a condition that if it's caught in time, of course, this condition can be managed, and it can, you can prolong people's eyesight for a really long time if you're able to do that. So, I mean, that's predominantly, by having strong connections and partnerships throughout the industry, that really, that really helps. And we also work with a core team of opinion leaders and researchers around the world to advance our understanding of corneal biomechanics and their properties. So there's ongoing studies all the time, which are looking into gaining even more understanding and information from the measurements that we can already provide. So, prior to the introduction of the aura, discussions around corneal biomechanics were really sort of theoretical. I think people understood that there must be an importance of the biomechanics of the cornea, not just the internal pressure. But there was no real way to measure those properties. So it was very difficult then to draw any conclusions, where the aura measurement of corneal hysteresis, it spawned an entirely new sort of science in this area in ophthalmology, and it led to new relationships being understood, and corneal and glaucoma researchers and opinion leaders, really started to join forces to understand the importance of this kind of measurement, and our efforts and partnerships, with the thought leaders have resulted in over 800 peer-reviewed publications, which is a huge number, really, just in terms of understanding the weight this is now brought to this industry. And there's also dozens of book chapters, and entirely new sections of programs in most industry congresses, which are looking specifically at this feature. So, ultimately, these efforts have benefited the clinicians and their patients by providing them with really meaningful new metrics, to help them understand, the glaucoma risk, the onset of glaucoma, and also how well different treatment regimes are working. And we believe it's really creating a positive impact to patients' visual outcomes.
Absolutely.
It's great to see how we can work with these sort of key opinion leaders, and lots of these people are the sorts of people that talk at events like this. So we try and welcome anyone like that with open arms, and say, if we have an opportunity to work with those people, learn from those people, then that's exactly what we want to do, to get the very best from our instruments out of those.
Absolutely. What do you think sets Reichert Technologies apart from other eye care companies out there?
I think it's simple, really. We have a very sort of simple philosophy, and we, it's about our people, it's about our technology, and it's about our passion to continue investing in the solutions that this industry needs. So, we pride ourselves a lot by, by giving the people here the opportunity to really innovate and develop new solutions. So we work with industry experts, and we do that. We always try and move the technology further along. So, we're here to try and bring new technology, new solutions. And our slogan really says it. We are passionate about eye care. This is really what we're all about, and this is how we're trying to, to impact that industry. And we're proud to be, someone who's really, bringing new products and new developments. So I think that's really in a nutshell. Reichert
Sure.
is simply passionate about eye care and what we can do and how we can partner with, with everyone involved in the industry.
Yeah, well, it certainly shines through, and when it comes to partnership, we certainly appreciate the support for Eyes on Glaucoma. It's been incredible having you guys at this show. To your entire team, hats off to you guys. So tomorrow, you guys have the first session of the day. So this is the with Dr. Nathan Radcliffe tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time. The glaucoma vital signs you may be missing. So I know we'll get great attendance for that first talk of the day. I believe it's the first talk of the day. So for those watching, do check that one out. You'll be able to ask Q&A and all that good stuff. But Ian, it's been great to meet you, to spend time with you. Thanks for all that background, and thanks so much for all the support.
Okay, thanks, Matt. It's great to talk to you, and I think it's a great event. Yeah, and the talk tomorrow, I think, will be a great talk. Nate Radcliffe is really excellent. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Best, as good as it gets. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank
everyone.
you.